And then after that happened, we found a lot of papers missing, our files, a few other things. So I don't know if they prepared this prior to him coming up or what.
Okay, sir.
When Richard went to the hospital, his mother put him in there because Richard was living with his mother at the time. Brenda, Michelle, she came and told me that she put him in the hospital. And I said, well, ask Richard if he wants to come live with me. He said no. So Michelle said, well, how about if he can go with his grandfather? Well, Fred said, yeah, I'll take him. So Richard says, well, I'll go with him. So he went with him because Michelle was going to put him into a placement home.
When did you change your name from Brenda to Michelle?
About 5 years ago.
See, when I was married to her, she was Brenda. So I'm used to Brenda, calling her Brenda. So my Fred took him to Utah with him. And he asked me, well, Rick, are you going to help me? And I says, well, if I have some money, I will send you some money. He says, okay. So he went up to Utah, and I was getting calls from Fred that he was in trouble, sniffing gas and all this stuff. We met in Las Vegas in December, and Fred said, take Richard with you. I want him to get to know you again and all that. I said, okay. So Richard was with me, and he was getting in some trouble with the law and stuff like that. So we went to court, and the court was going to put him into a placement. So Richard says, well, I'll go back to Grandpa's in Utah. So I called him up, and I asked him, I said, Fred, Richard would like to come back to Utah. And he says, okay, I'll take him back. He came down and picked him up, took him up there. And he was having problems with Richard. Richard was sneaking cigarettes, and he asked for the cigarettes back, and Richard said no. So he punched him out, gave him a black eye. And so I called up there, and I asked, how's everything with Richard? And he said, well, I just punched him out because he wouldn't give me the cigarettes. Then he mouthed off, and I hit him again. I said, that's not right. Why are you doing that? Well, I'm tired of his, excuse my French, I'm tired of it. And I said, well, try to understand him, Then I called up again. Then he's over medicating him with Zoloft, 150 milligrams a day. And I said, why are you doing that? He says, well, I'm trying to keep him calmed down. And I talked to my girlfriend, my wife, and I said, well, you know what? Let's go up to Utah and pick him up. He's getting abused.
Well, just a second. Let's step back a minute. The judge in the court in California permitted your son, instead of going to a juvenile facility, to go to live with your father. Is that correct?
Yes.
He was released to your father's custody, not to yours. Is that right?
Yes.
So you had no right to go and pick him up because he was, in fact, released to your father's custody. Right?
Right.
See, I didn't even read those papers, and I know that. Bird knows that, too, because we've been around the block. Mm-hmm.
Except the court said they allowed him to go up there. Isn't that a different phrase? Allowed?
Let me tell you what they did in the state of California. They saved themselves probably $100,000 by not putting him in a facility here at taxpayers' expense. They said, we're going to make it Utah's problem. We'll send him to Utah to live with his grandfather. Let me first discuss with you, sir, your countersuit. I'd like to get that resolved first, which is you're suing for mental anguish for your son. You want $2,000. You don't get a penny.